Peace, 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 and know that we're at war, right? I'm gonna send you greetings, Osio, Oshtaiga. Oshtaiga is good day, or the day is good. We're not in mourning, so I don't ever say good morning, because it's not good. It's only good for the, I wouldn't even call them masters. It's only good for the enslavers or those who create prisoners of war status. No longer is a keys, wallet, phone. Make sure you didn't forget certain things. Right now, keys, wallet, phone, fishing rod, saw, axe, chainsaw, whatever. You know, when you leave the house, it's as if you're not going to work. It's as if you're almost going to war. And when I say war, I mean obviously being ready for anything, but in actuality, what I mean is turning inward, right? Turning to each other. Because I hear a lot of this equality talk and, you know, this inequity and we need to be equal, we need to be equal. We cannot be equal to anyone else, right? We cannot be equal to anyone else. That's not my opinion. That's only using what we call evidence. So we cannot be equal to anyone within this system of enslavement, because to be equal would mean to be just as demonically possessed. Now, when I say that, I'm not talking about a skin color, a complexion, or, you know, what they consider white. But what I need all people to know that when you consider yourself white, it is a spell. If you're not claiming you're, you know, Portuguese, Italian, or Irish, or whatever bloodline you come from, if you're identifying as white, W-H-I-T-E, well, the origin of that word is W-I-G-H-T, which means creature, demon. It means all of these things that we see, and that W-I-G-H-T has been reigning supreme, and you have been basically guilty by association, right? Guilty by complexion. Now, if you stay silent and don't speak up on behalf, just like if we stay silent and don't speak up on behalf of what's going on within our hue spectrum of 2,500 different shades, we're just as guilty. So when a grandmother gets shot in Dorchester, God rest her soul, may the Creator welcome her home. When the 73-year-old grandmother sitting on the porch enjoying life gets hit by a stray bullet, well, whose fault is that? And then we can't know for sure, because we know that these demons, in order for them to perform certain rituals and to be inducted, what do? All they got to do is put on a mask, a black face, and then go into the hood and wreak havoc. Now you think somebody else did it that's from around the way, and it wasn't even nobody from there. There was a guy in Chicago who robbed a bank with a mask that's supposed to be what they considered African American. And if it wasn't for his wife or his girlfriend who got mad at him and told on him, this dude's mother actually turned him in because it looked so much like her son. She turned him in and said, "Son, you got to do the right thing. I know that was you on the tape. You have to do the right thing." And it wasn't even this brother. So what I'm saying to all, sending out not even an SOS, I'm sending out a vibration of love. And if you are human, then may this vibration hit and resonate with your soul. I'm sending it out to realize that we are under attack as a species. Now, many won't receive the vibration because they have been rendered subhuman, not only by certain tools used in order to change who you are, be it medicinal, be it through music, the destruction of what was a beautiful form of dance and togetherness, be it the miseducation system, everything that told you that you were black, white, African American, Negro, colored, none of this has a bloodline. Now, the Aboriginal American who was here, who welcomed the Christ offer, or the Christopher Columbus, and they were pleased with being able to convert everyone using this tool, this conversion tool. And ever since we've accepted that Christopher, or the Christ offer, we have been destroyed. We have been removed from everything. We were removed from each other, removed from ourselves, removed from our Creator, removed from our ancestral beginnings, because we accepted the new deal, as they say, the contract. The word for contract or civil contract is what's called a testament. And as we still march for civil rights, it's like an oxymoron, because it's rights to exist as a dead person. And this is not who we are. We are not who they say we are. Your driver's license, all this other stuff, this identity, this entity, that's not who you are. They cannot capture all of who you are within a piece of plastic. So when you give them, these officers or overseers or policy enforcers, when you give them this document, you are saying that this represents who you are. This fictitious or fiction, you're saying that this is who you are. And now when you give them this fictitious instrument and claim that that is you, well, that's a headstone. You see all the old capital letters? That's your headstone. You're traveling with your headstone. And with that being the case, you're already dead. And so if they kill you, well, you told them they were dead. So you told them that you were dead. You gave them your headstone. And they cannot hold you, or you cannot be under arrest, or you cannot be detained, basically, until you give them this documentation that's presented from you, but it's given to you by this foreign corporation that was brought over by foreign people for the benefit of foreign people. So now, as the Aboriginal, you lose because you identify. Now, the Great Law of Peace has some great. You should look through the entire thing, look through all the wampum. But the side notes on wampum 42 and the side notes on wampum 48 are really, really something that you strike with your soul and with your being. Now, I only show us in our glory as far as the indigenous Aboriginal American people that were here to greet the Christ offer, Columbus and all of those people. When we were in our greatness and we were together vibrating as one, it brought everyone over here, everyone. So there was a mindset of almost of what you would see in Avatar, right? The movie, where you see that everyone is one with the land and with each other. And the only wars basically came as a result of France coming to the crypt saying, hey, the Bloods in England are trying to take over, and Germany and the vice lords, and Spain and the gangster disciples, like so everybody on the other side of the water had everything already split up before they got here. So they didn't mind sacrificing a couple of their demons in order to acquire all that you have. And when two brothers fight, when two sisters fight, then the mother and father's land is no longer the inheritance of either one, right? So now we're strangers in our own land because we fought each other. We're fighting each other. I'm calling for an immediate 30-day, which I'm going back to the Aboriginal 28-day month or moon, 28 plus 2 days. So that on the 28th day, we're going to renew for 2 days and then continue on. That will be the one drop rule, the new one drop rule, which means not one drop of blood shall we shed from each other. Not one drop of blood. I'm calling for a perpetual truce between the Bloods, the Crips, all gangs, anybody warring, anybody with beef. I'm calling right now for a perpetual truce that will last forever. And we turn inward. We turn inward and only deal amongst each other. It's to the point to where you can no longer pull over and deal with what is called the policy enforcers, because they're out to kill you as an energy ritual, right? All of this stuff is energy rituals. They need blood, they need energy, and they need to control the narrative. All I can say, be calm. Don't let the mass shootings fool you. Don't let the fake news, everything that you see on the news is a lie. It's all, they're using it as a tool to control you. And with that being the case, we lose, right? Why do we lose? Because we sit back and we absorb this stuff. Our energy becomes hijacked. And with our energy hijacked, and our mind hijacked, and our body hijacked, there are two people who need your soul. You and a thief. That's it. Nobody else needs your soul. Your soul is created by the Creator. And you're allowed to come through and have this physical experience on earth. It's so beautiful. Just the rain, the sound of the rain. Yesterday I walked through the woods real quick, man, and it was just like, it's so peaceful. When you need peace, you must go tune into the frequency of the earth. This is why Ben Franklin and those demons back in 1751 talked about continuing to clear America of its woods. And when you see these beautiful, beautiful mountains that you actually think are mountains, but they're actually tree stumps that were massive, right? Here we are. We've lost all of our greatness, all of this green earth, the evergreen trees, all of this green. And here we are, fighting, killing each other, destroying each other for some green money that isn't worth the paper that it's printed on. It isn't worth it. You can endorse your coupon on the back, and it is just as good as money. That's a whole nother conversation, and I won't get into that. That's something that you need to research. But this is the truth. Look in the House Joint Resolution 192, discharging debts dollar for dollar. And, this is all a simulation almost. This is almost like a matrix. Now, for the next 30 days, a perpetual truce, and on the 28th day, we renew it. At the 28th day, That's also paying homage to the 28 days of the lunar cycle. That's also paying homage to the 28 days of the woman's cycle, and it's also paying homage to the 28 plates on the back of the turtle's back, because this is Turtle Island. You'll also find on your hand, each hand you have 14 phalanges, and with the two hands together you have 28 phalanges. Now, I love what the Creator has done, because with these phalanges, you have 88 keys on the piano. The 88 keys on the piano is representative of 7 1/3 octaves, which is a comfortable hearing range for the human ear. Well, this 88 keys divided by the 28 phalanges, it comes out to 3.14, which is energy, which is pi, and that's why it's called the piano. And we must strike the chords of life with the mallets of our heart, rhythm, the pulse. You also have 22 bones in your skull. You got 7 orifices in your face and the skull. 22 divided by 7 gives you 3.14 again. So many of us think that the only time you'll find pi in your body is around Thanksgiving. But pi and energy is what expressed you, as well as the word in your DNA. You are the book. There's no book outside of you. The only book outside of you has life in it. Trees, birds, the fruit, everything. Insects. That's the word. That is the word of God. You cannot capture the word of God in a book. You cannot. It does not worry. It does not work. You can only capture man by a book. It's like a hook, line, and sinker. Once you're on the boat, you're done. You're done. So I say all of this as a cry. It's a vibrational cry to humanity. I'm sending this out as an Aboriginal, as a descendant of the Aniyanwia, the Creek, the Yuchi, and so many different tribes that I'm still discovering, because it was covered. It was covered. Intentionally. Reclassified, usurped. That's straight tyranny. It's a tyrant that is responsible for the destruction. And from here on, my entire days, I will spend it searching for my ancestors and trying to reunite the family and restoring myself, the Aboriginal resurrection. Because only the mindset of the Aboriginal can make America great again and can make this earth great again. If you're obsessed with conquest, if you're obsessed with material gain, if you're obsessed with all of this stuff that doesn't mean anything, that you have to go to somebody else to get, then you lose, right? You lose. But when you become obsessed with your being, when you become obsessed with infecting others with life and ensuring that depression cannot exist in any state of knowledge. When you have knowledge of yourself and love for yourself, nothing can exist there. Even with all the chemical attacks, the medicinal attacks, you will find out that your body is either lacking something or it is a toxicity of something. This is what makes your body at dis-ease. So in order to restore what's missing or remove what's excessive, you must go to natural remedies. You're a natural being. You weren't a product of the PHARM. You're a product of the FARM. It sounds the same, but it's not. One is real and the other is synthetic. One will give you life, the other will take your life. You'll still have it, but for life you will be indebted to them. They owe you. The Aboriginal, they owe you everything. You don't owe anything. You see that national debt? It's what they owe you. Put you up for collateral. This is the new slavery system. Slavery never ended. Only way to be free is to free yourself. Free your mind. Only the blood of your ancestors can give you the freedom. I walked into the Alabama Department of Archives back in 2019, and I was trying to find information on my ancestors. I had been digging for a little while by then, but it led me down there. And they told me, the lady said to me, she was like, oh, everybody in Alabama was a slave before a certain time, so you might as well not even look them up. Well, foolishly, I was like, wow, it hit me like, and so I really didn't do much more research with all of those records that were at my finger. Meanwhile, the mailbox that they assigned me to put my stuff was the same address as my house in Florida. And it's the same number that's on this Tuskegee picture that I just put up on, the Tuskegee thing that I just put up, right? So, and it's the same house that my great-grandmother raised my grandmother. My great-great-grandmother raised my grandmother because her mother passed away young. So these numbers have always followed me. So I know that that's the ancestors speaking to me. And so we have to be more dedicated and not letting people sway you. And I let this lady sway me. I regret it now, but my journey brought me down to Alabama, what is called Ikanochaka, and also called Tahua, which means the Holy Land. People know it now as Selma, and this is why so much energy was focused on Selma, and all of that bloodshed was done there. But even before this 1960s and all of that, in the 50s, back in the early 1800s, when it was the Battle of the Holy Night. So they have to continue to keep shedding blood. But my journey down there brought me to my mother's homeland. I tell you, man, I met some of the most beautiful people on the planet. My cousins, and one of my cousin Andrew, he took me all around. He's still on ancestral land that my great-grandfather and his father and different people, left possible in airland. It's amazing how they looked out for future generations, and we only buy Jordans, and we only care about looking fresh for now. But he also took me to the beautiful Squabby's house. Oh, Squabby is so beautiful. She knew everything. And then also took me, Squabby said, go across the street. Went across the street, and my mother's aunt was still alive. She's still alive, and I met her, and she gave me a picture of my great-grandmother. I asked if I could take a picture of it with my cell phone, and she told me that I could have it. And when she told me that I could have that picture, I cried like a newborn baby. I bawled, and I said, she looks like an Indian. And my grand aunt looked at me with so much power and force, and she said she was full-blood Cherokee. And this is what my mother has always told us growing up. She always made sure we had Indian names, and made sure her grandkids had Indian names, and she kept that within our spectrum of knowledge, but we ignored it because we thought we were black, colored, and all this other stuff based upon the miseducation. So now, if you don't identify as your ancestors, then all that they've had is no longer yours and it belongs to the thief. Well, I see that in 1870, 1880, great-great-grandparents, great-great-great-grandparents had land, 60 acres of land. They had 80 acres of land. They had 40 acres of land. They had so much. There was so many. There were some of them up in Chambers County that had like 1,500 acres of land. I mean, it was unbelievable because everything I was taught to believe, which has the word lie in the right in the middle of it. Believe has the word lie in the middle. Everything I was taught to believe was contrary to what I'm actually seeing on these documents, these census records and these agricultural records and all of this other stuff. And so it's not about belief. You cannot believe anything. Belief is the absence of evidence. Knowledge is knowing, and there's a difference. There is a difference, and the difference is life and death. Okay? Either a walking life or a walking death. So I'm sending this vibration out 30 days, every 28 days. And every 28 days, we re-up. It's not one drop of blood shed. It's the new one drop rule. Not only that, but spending time looking up your ancestors. Spending time. FamilySearch.org is free. The other ones cost money, but I tell you, you won't make a better investment in your life than to find your people and come together. Come together. There's no job on this planet that is worth you not seeing your people. There's no amount of money. Guess what? If everybody came together and started their own bank account and they put their money in the family bank account instead of putting money inside of 401ks and all this other stuff, divert your money into something and then buy the land back. Buy the land back. And you don't even have to buy the land back once you get all of your assessment and paperwork together. They owe it to you. It's still yours. And all you have to do is go and get it. You have to go and get it because the land does not belong to them. Side note, on wampum, it's either 42 or 58 that the land can only belong to the indigenous Aboriginal people here. This is just a paraphrase. And the European not being able to own property in this part of the world. And when I say European, I'm not attacking what we call white people. And I'm not about to go into no explanation. But what I'm saying is that system, that European system of law, that Moorish doctrine, everything is about law, the water, law of the water, law of the water, all of that. They do not own anything, and they cannot give you anything. And they cannot give you anything. That's why they continue to tax you after you have made your purchase. It's all about siphoning energy. Siphoning your energy. This world belongs to you. This world belongs to me. And it's apparent that demons have run wild. But they had a tool to get us to stop fighting. Stop fighting against them. And in turn, cause us to fight against each other. The fight is over. We have to stop fighting each other. We have to restore each other's health by using natural resources. Find somebody selling sea moss. Find somebody with Aboriginal organic seeds that produce fruit with seeds. Restore. Male fertility rate since the 80s has gone down to 52%. Then it's further reduced with your cell phone in your pocket. Further reduced with your laptop in your lap. Further reduced when you're in fear. Fear reduces your fertility. And this is why they continue to use that as a tool of war. And then you sit there on the video games, killing everybody and doing all this stuff, And then you get off the video games and you get mad at somebody for killing you in the video game and you want to kill them in real life. Get off the games and get in the game. A game of life. Go chop some wood. Build your stamina. Learn to build. Go look at the off-grid living online. Learn about solar panels. Learn about your melanin, which is a solar panel. Huh? This is why they strip you down. They boil your skin after they kill you, and they put it in their synthetic robots and all this other stuff. Come on, man. We ain't tired yet. We ain't tired yet. You mean Sodom and Gomorrah was supposedly so bad that it was destroyed? Meanwhile, this place is even worse? Huh? And nothing? If Sodom and Gomorrah was real, Sodom and Gomorrah would be due an apology. That's if it was real. But the only thing that is real, huh? The only thing that is real is your reflection. And the only thing that can express the God that you speak of or the God that you seek, the only thing that can express that is from the inside. Everything says the kingdom is inside. All of these doctrines says the kingdom is inside. And everybody goes into a building that has this space needle on the top that their energy gets diverted to these demons. Get out of those buildings. Operate and pray within the building that you are. Use your body as an antenna. Movement is prayer. This is why your ancestors danced. This is why they beat the drum. This is why the drum is the heartbeat, is the pulse. It's everything. It's the breath of life. Beat the inner drum. Movement is prayer. Don't say a word. Don't speak this English or these different languages to... You don't have to say anything. The Creator knows what you want. And you know what you want. Because you are the Creator. The Creator is you. The Creator hid itself inside of us and expressed itself through the DNA. The DNA is the Creator. The mRNA is the angels. The written word is in your DNA. And it has told the angels, which is the mRNA, to express 2 arms, 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, ears, a brain, a thalamus, a cerebrum, 2 of them, or cherubim, which is where they say God sits in between cherubim. Where's the cherubim? What's right in between the cherubim? The pineal gland. Pineal gland? Well, what's the pineal gland got to do with God? Well, Jacob said, or Yaqub said that he saw God face to face and called the place Peniel. Isn't that Genesis 32:30? If the pineal gland is God, and God is on the inside, then why are we not expressing it? It's April 16th. It's my brother's birthday, and it's snowing. After having 60-degree weather the other day, it's snowing. Why is it snowing? Because they're able to spray into the atmosphere. And as these demons prepare